Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Pop Cult X, your go-to for all things pop culture from our Generation X perspective. Of course, your host here, I'm Danny, along with Gabriel, and we're here to walk you through a plethora of items, beginning with our unofficial Project Runway recap show, of course. But first off, Gabe, how are you?
Doing well. Yeah, doing good.
Good. So I'm assuming that you did watch the latest episode of Project Runway.
I did. It was a good one, so I can't wait to get talking about it.
And I laugh when I say assume because that's what we're doing here right now, talking about it. So of course it starts off with not everyone, with our disdain of how those episodes start with sending someone home.
Yeah.
So if you remember from episode 5, it was either going to be Madeline or Joan, and they decided to send Madeline home, which I think was the right choice.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't still grasp the concept of what her aesthetic is. And she mentions that she's the only one that does what she does. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. That she singles herself out as someone who is doing something very unique. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. So I was glad to see her go.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was glad, but yeah, but it was the right choice. Yeah.
Someone has to go home, and it's a competition show, so
yeah,
I don't think it's always got to be sad. It's it is what it is.
Yeah. And that led directly in, and I don't know if it's editing or if this is how it actually is, but it seems like they get no rest.
Oh yeah, sure.
They go bang, 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 and of course this one went right into the streetwear challenge, which is really fun. I mean, I guess I say fun, but I don't know too much about streetwear other than when I think of streetwear, I think very urban, very what you picture kids on the street wearing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like everyday life, people, what they wear in their everyday attire, but with like a fashion sense that's still very stylish.
Yeah, when I hear streetwear, I picture the streets of New York City, which are like a runway unto themselves. So it's like the ultimate streetwear or test of, I guess, what a good streetwear is if you can make it on those mean runway streets of New York City.
Yeah, I think it definitely, I think of New York as well, like Paris, maybe like Tokyo, LA, places where people, you know, not, they keep in mind in what they're wearing every day. Like it's not just a polo shirt and a pair of khakis. Like they put thought and effort into what they're wearing.
Well, then I won't fit in. I give me a pair of shorts and some flip flops and a t-shirt, and that's my streetwear every day, even if it's like 40 degrees out. But I guess this challenge was really built for one of the designers, and that would be Yu Chen, because he is I guess, streetwear designer. I guess that's how he labels himself or what his aesthetic is. But I don't know if he did that well this week.
He did not. It felt like his design. He did like a hoodie with these like cutouts. It looked very similar to like what a teenager would do in their bedroom, like kind of get a hoodie and customize it. It felt very not very, what would the word be, like not upscale, because streetwear doesn't necessarily need to be upscale, but it just felt very um pedestrian, I guess. I don't know.
Well, hey, I mean, if it's pedestrian, it is kind of streetwear.
No, I mean, streetwear to me, it is sort of elevated from just like your everyday
Yeah,
look.
I know,
It's
I know.
not just, you know, it doesn't have to be like dumbed down, but it to me, his look was just, I don't know, it was very like crafty.
Yeah, I mean, it. I guess what did they say, the judges, that it was something they've seen countless times, right? A distressed hoodie, oversized hoodie jacket that had been cut up into pieces. And like you said, I mean, well, someone could have done that at home.
Yeah, and the piercings, like putting the piercings on it, was kind of a I don't know, not a cool.
I don't know. When I think of doing stuff at home, that sort of DIY type thing, I think more of punk rock than streetwear.
Yeah,
But that really wasn't punk rock either, so I don't know.
yeah, not a fan of what he came up with. What was really sad, he ultimately had a confrontation with La Roche. I think La Roche even said like, "I want to like get off the stage and
Yeah,
beat him up or something." I mean, it
yeah.
was very harsh. And it was like, I think like
Hmm.
Law Roach, like it's like a thin line between whether or not I like or dislike him. That comment to me was sort of crossed the line. I know
Okay.
it's like tongue in cheek and he's trying to be funny and cheeky by saying like, "Oh, I felt so strongly, like I want to beat you up," but like that's a really weird thing to say to someone. Like, I want to beat you up because you didn't perform the way I wanted to. Like that's really weird. Um, I don't know. I just felt that that was a really weird comment. Yu Chan definitely had a very strong reaction. I think he was almost in tears, because he was so disappointed in what he did. Um, but yeah, I didn't like the interaction.
You know, I don't mind it. I mean, I laughed about it because I thought it was he was trying to be the agitator, I guess, if you will, and like you said, La Roche felt Yu Chen didn't live up to what his expectation of his design was going to be based
Yeah,
on previous challenges. So I mean, I thought it was funny. I didn't think anything really malicious of it. You right? So it was just I thought it was fun.
yeah. The other person that was in the bottom was who Joan, Miss
Yeah,
Joan. She did a like it was very like to me very 70s like I don't know like suit I don't know it's just it was very dated. It didn't seem very modern. She's a really great tailor. She made it really well her suit, but it just
yeah.
didn't look like a modern version of what streetwear is.
Right, right, right. And that's that. Well, I mean, and she stuck by her design,
Yeah.
come hell or high water, right? So she was in love with her design, which is fine. I mean, if you're gonna go out on something that you love, right? So yeah, I think maybe her time might have finally come to an end, but we'll find out next week on that.
Yeah. Someone who did well was Bologna. I really loved her look.
Mhm.
She did something that was super cool. I can envision the type of girl that would be dressed like that. Super hip, very streetwear. She did something that if essentially something that she would wear, right? Like
Yeah,
that's her style and her aesthetic for herself, which is really funny when designers come in and they have a really good look for themselves, but then they don't create a good look for their model. And I think
which
Ken was an example of that. He
hmm
had a really cool streetwear
hmm
that he designed, that he made, but then he failed to create that for the challenge.
exactly. Yeah, that's and they call them out. It's like, why didn't you just make something like what you're wearing? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm glad that Bologna, she had a weird interaction as well, like as
Yeah,
far
I was gonna
as
bring that up.
her description of like who the girl was and what her aesthetic is, and they kind of were like, no, you're describing it wrong, like stop what you're saying. And which
That was awkward.
it's like, you're defining a designer for themselves. She should be able to speak on her own behalf of what she's doing. But I definitely agree that it's like it's her aesthetic, it's her
Mhm.
style. She is that woman that she's designing for, and she needs to stick to that because it was really cool. Like all the accessories, the styling, everything was spot on.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't awkward in exchange. I think that was even more awkward for me than the Yu Chen La Roche exchange
Yeah,
because it was like she came up with this idea and this story of who this girl was, and they just basically said, "No, you're wrong. We're not going to talk about that. What you should have said is this,"
yeah,
which is like, okay. I mean, if I come up with an idea for a story that I'm really pushing, I really like, and I tell it, and you just say no, that
yeah.
to me feels more I don't know. I would rather get beaten up than to be told that, I think.
Maybe.
But another designer who also I guess had a weird confrontation with the judges again was
Yeah.
Antonio,
Yeah.
and him and wanting to prove Nina Garcia wrong, and that's like his whole. I think that was like his whole mindset for this whole week's challenge was like, I got to prove Nina wrong, got to prove Nina wrong, got to prove her wrong,
Right.
and she wasn't there to judge.
Yeah. Which is funny. It I kind of feel one or two ways of about his interaction with like looking at the camera like Nina, this is for you, and kind of trying to prove her wrong. One is sort of that's kind of living up to a fantasy of everyone. Like someone puts you down, you want to be able to prove them
Yeah,
wrong and then call them out for it and like have that moment of like, look, you said I couldn't do it. Here it is. I did it. But on another way, you could take the high ground or the high road and just let your actions and design speak for itself. You landed in the top. You don't really have to say anything. People realize that maybe she misjudged you. You proved your worth. You don't really have to say anything. But he chose to say it and to kind of like give her a little wink and say like in your face. But you know, I could see either way, like wanting to do that because they were very strong words that Nina had for him. Like, why are you even here? I don't know how you made it.
yeah.
What are you even doing here? And so, you know, I'm sure it was a really great feeling for him to be like, here I am on the top, and you're not here to see it, but you know, I did it anyway.
Well, I guess you could also look at it. He's there on the top because she wasn't there.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe her input would have put him, you know, more towards the middle and been
Hmm.
safe on the towards the top. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Is that maybe, you know, she's the one that's like holding him back when it comes to judging. Heidi definitely liked his look from the previous week, but the other judges weren't on board with that. So maybe,
Yeah, it's been a lot of weird interactions between the contestants and judges this season so far.
yeah,
So we'll see how that progresses. And there's also been a lot of build up between two contestants, really, and
yeah,
that's VJ and Jesus, and they've been really building up this, competition, this, back and forth between the two of them, and I laugh about it. I think it's fun.
yeah. I mean, it is fun. It makes for good TV. If I had to choose, I definitely would be Team Jesus. BJ just, I, I'm not on her team. I would be Team Twin. I just there's something that like rubs me the wrong way. I think maybe it's just like the way she's holding back and like not sharing a lot about what she does, you know, about herself, and is really guarded that like rubs me the wrong way. And it's maybe it's coming off as like arrogant versus being guarded or um, you know, maybe not being as outgoing as the rest of the teams or the other contestants. But there's something about her that just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm enjoying that contest back and forth because it seems like I don't know if they're just building it this way because they get all this footage throughout the whole season and then they can edit it down, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, are they building us up for like the final showdown at the end?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so foreshadowing, right?
One person's design look that I was kind of disappointed in and thought they were kind of lucky that they didn't land in the bottom was Ethan. I thought what he did was like completely not streetwear. He had a moment where he sort of broke down and Miss
Yeah,
Jones sort of helped him, which was I thought a really sweet moment, which really showed her character that she took the time to kind of try to uplift him and say like keep going. So that was kind of a cool moment to capture on film, the interaction between Ethan and Miss Joan.
yeah, that was cool. I mean, it shows, like I said, that this competition is relentless.
Yeah.
And if you're not don't have the right mindset, it's gonna just break you down, and it could be just one little thing where you don't feel right about something and then it just like snowballs from there, and then you're just basically, where do I go from here? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was safe, even though his design was, like you said, questionable.
So we have who in the bottom, Miss Joan and Yu Chen.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to go home?
I think this is Miss Jones' end of the line for her.
She's definitely has received a lot of second chances.
Yeah.
She's been in the bottom, um, missed the mark quite a few times. So yeah, I think Miss Joan is finally gonna be sent home.
Yeah. What about everyone out there? What do you guys think? Yu Chen or Miss Joan? Who's going to be sent home? And were you happy with Belania as the winner over, was it Antonio? Who's also top? Yeah. I mean, I was. So,
I was as well. Yeah, that look was just really,
yeah.
really good.
It was effortless. It was really cool. And I liked her story
Yeah,
about Audrey Hepburn type of deal. So, we'll see.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Another show that I've been watching outside of Project Runway is The Peacemaker. We didn't recap or talk about it last week when it premiered, but I think there's two episodes that as of this time have been released, and
There's
I
a
pretty.
reason for that, though. Let me stop you real
All
quick.
right.
Due to international spoiler alert laws, I think we're only allowed to talk about the previous week, not the current week, right? So we'll just talk about season two, episode one.
Okay, that
So,
sounds fair.
yeah, we'll keep it spoiler free for a week.
All right.
But yes, Peacemaker.
Yeah. Yeah, really good. I mean, we got reintroduced to the cast, see where they are from the previous season, where everything kind of um, where the chips fell, and really interesting, kind of refreshing still from what we see from other superhero films, and it's starting off really well. I've really enjoyed it.
Completely agree. I like the fact that they went back and retconned from Justice League to Justice Gang,
Yeah.
which, to be honest, I'd never heard of Justice Gang until I watched Superman. So I don't know how big of a deal they are. But yeah, I'd never heard of them. So it was cool to be introduced to something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, from what I understand, like it's there isn't really like the Justice Gang is just sort of like a preliminary Justice League, right? Like it's like what they formed prior to becoming what we know
So
as
it's like the minor leagues of Justice League.
well, like just like it's the early formation of what's to become the Justice League. That's the way I interpret it.
Oh,
Like not
okay.
that it's the Justice Gang is like a thing of it in and of itself, but like that it's the precursor to what's to come with the Justice League. But maybe I'm interpreting that wrong. But that's the way I looked at it.
So it's more like the Articles of Confederation for Justice Gang instead of the Constitution, which would be the Justice League. So
Yeah,
it's like the precursor. Oh, that makes sense. I never thought about it like that. I
yeah,
thought it was just like a minor league version of Justice League.
yeah. No, I mean I could be wrong, but that's the way I'm interpreting it.
That works. I mean, I kind of like that idea.
Yeah,
I think that's a way of building into, because I guess with DC Studios, James Gunn, they are rebuilding everything, right?
yeah,
So that kind of makes sense. I like that.
yeah. One of the cool scenes that I like was the Peacemaker trying out for the Justice
Yeah.
Gang, and it was really funny because as they're sort of talking to him, they're pressing a microphone down
Hmm.
and then releasing it so that he can't hear him, but he hears everything,
Hmm.
and they're like insulting him basically to his face, and
Yes.
it just was a really funny scene. It was really quite hilarious.
Yeah.
And then he kind of storms out. We had Hawk Girl and Guy Gardner along with is it Maxwell Lord? Is that
Yeah.
who?
Yeah. Sean Gunn. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Character. Yeah.
they are interrogating him and decide that he's not worthy of joining.
Yeah. And I like the little quip where he goes like, "Oh God, was that happening all day?" And I talked about the White Rabbit so many times or something like that. Because it's one of those things like, because that's so relatable to real life, right? When you think a mic is off and you're talking, you're not holding back on anything, and then you just get red in the face when you realize, oh, it was on and they heard it the whole time. Maybe they're not there to realize it for you to see them, but it's like, oh, and then you just remember everything you said.
Yeah, really funny. The other thing that was kind of, I guess, the wow moment or factor is that Peacemaker goes to an alternate universe
Hmm.
where his father and his brother are the three of them are sort of a heroic team, and his brother is alive
Yeah,
and has
yeah.
grown up to become another superhero, and he is in this alternate universe that exists and kind of realizes like this is what could have been.
Hmm. Had his dad not been a complete and utter.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was the top trio was like their superhero gang or something or name or something like that. But that was pretty cool to see that. I mean, I like the approach they did with the multiverse on this, the doorway, the whole Monsters Inc. almost type of thing, which I think is fun. And there's some weird alien that comes out with a little rat or something and burns it.
yeah,
That's fun stuff. I mean, I'm really enjoying this season. When we get talk to episode 2, I got some thoughts on that. But I was gonna do for like a transition from Project Runway to Peacemaker. I was gonna say something like go from the mean streets of New York to the orgy-filled room at Chris Smith's house in Peacemaker because
yeah.
that was out of nowhere and it was just so fitting for Peacemaker, but it just like caught me by surprise that scene. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, during the interrogation or the interview scene, they sort of allude to the fact that Peacemaker is what either bisexual or um what's the other term, or I forget the other term for someone who is with whoever
Yeah.
doesn't find their sexuality by gay or straight. And then we jump to a scene where he's in part, he's not necessarily, well, no, he is taking part
Yeah.
in a group scene. So it's definitely very edgy, not like the wholesome Superman or you know a way that we've seen superheroes portrayed before. It definitely is an interesting take on that.
Yeah, when before I watched it, I read somewhere that said this is not for kids.
Yeah.
I was like, well, of course it's not. It's rated R, it's Peacemaker. But then I saw that scene, I was like, oh, maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because I mean it's sort of kind of borrowing from like Deadpool, because Deadpool has that
Yeah.
sort of flirtation with
Hmm.
like with him cooking up with whoever and like flirting with Wolverine, and so it's sort of taking from that page of like that humor. So it's very similar in which it's like it's meant for adults, it's not meant for children,
Right.
which is kind of cool because there's a lot of adults that are into superheroes that don't necessarily want just a Superman vibe. They want something that's more edgy.
Right. Right. And well, yeah, that this definitely delivers on that.
Yeah. There was a really cool scene. I forget what's his love interest name.
Harcourt.
Yeah, where she
Yeah.
goes into a bar and
Yeah.
she
I was going to talk about that
a
too.
fight, and it was a really cool scene. It's like a really cool fight scene, and she ends up getting her ass kicked, but it's sort of how she's dealing with having been fired, right,
Hmm.
from the agency, and how she still is yearning for that sort of interaction that she has with being an
Yeah.
enforcer. Yeah, so that was a really cool scene. I thought that was fun.
You're right. It was really cool how she went in there and picked a fight, basically, right? Because she had that itch, to feel alive, I guess, if you will. And I think James Gunn did a really good job breaking down each character's psyche of where they're at 6 months after saving the world, right? So it's really cool to see where Chris Smith, Peacemaker's at, where Amelia Harker's at, where Economos is at. He's still um on the job, if you will. And we get introduced to a new character, Rick Flag Sr.,
Yeah,
which I thought was fun and really cool that they brought that character in. Of course, we all know Rick Flag Jr. from Suicide Squad film.
yeah. Does he not seem old enough to have? a son. Like that's what I was like.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Old, like, but then I was thinking, well, if he had his kid when he was 20, and that would make him, let's say that Rick Flag Jr. was 22, then he'd be in his 40s. So I'm like, I guess
Yeah,
that he was old enough to have a kid. It just seemed like he was like really young.
it did seem young, but I tried not to think about it. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think Peacemaker season 2 is living up to be a really good season.
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to what's coming up for the rest of the episodes. Um, did we get introduced to what the main storyline will be yet in episode 1?
Well, episode one sort of saw the multiverse. And it culminates with him fighting himself, right?
Right.
And then them,
Which is fun fight too.
yeah, which is a really fun fight. And then them like sort of tracking the disturbance in, I guess, the multiverses by him opening up that door.
Hmm.
So they're tracking him, and that's sort of where it kind of starts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So do you think that's going to be the main storyline is the whole multiverse type thing and what Peacemaker is doing with it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because I think he's going to be drawn to the relationship that he has there, and it's going to, and he's going to basically take his own place because he killed himself.
Yeah.
And so he's going to take his own place in that universe, and kind of they're probably going to have to draw him back out, and
Hmm.
it's going to be probably a hard decision for him where it's like live in this, you know
Idealistic world
uh,
for himself. Yeah.
or come back to the real world.
Hmm. I guess in a way that kind of like can describe like someone who's, well, obviously he's depressed in the show, right? So he goes into this made up world, if you will. If you take out the multi-universe aspect of it, he goes into a world where that he makes up for himself. So he becomes delusional in a way, right? Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. We're not talking about episode two, but I have watched it, and it's a really good episode as well. So
Hmm.
people need to get on board and start watching Peacemaker. It's going to be a really good season.
Yes, I agree. I watched episode 2 as well. I really liked it. Really want to talk about it, but I'm going to give everyone a week to digest it before we get into it.
Yeah,
I just have one question before we leave this. Who would you rather have as a super pet, Eagly or Crypto?
I mean, I'm a dog guy, so I'd have to go with Crypto,
Okay.
uh, just because like I love dogs, and so I would have to go with Crypto. I mean, yeah, I do love Eagly, but I would have to go with Crypto. What about you?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I love dogs, so Crypto would be my first choice, but I'll give you my answer next week. How's
Okay.
that?
We're going to do a Project Runway style
There
ending
you
where
go, Willie.
you really know the answer. You have to come back for next week.
Yes, if you want to see who Danny picks for his pet, come back next week.
Are there any other animal sidekicks in, I guess, what Dogpool,
Yeah,
Deadpool, and
but
Wolverine?
Dogpool isn't really a pet though, right? It's another version of Deadpool.
I think it's a pet. I mean, it's a dog.
Well, yeah, but I always thought it was just another Deadpool from a different multiverse.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't know because isn't he good Deadpool's like little sidekick?
I guess.
Yeah, I think he's a sidekick, or she. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, dog. Uh, what other animals are there that are you have in the comics anyway? Falcon has a bird, a
Red
falcon.
Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't really think of anyone else that has an animal sidekick.
Hmm.
Aquaman obviously has animals at his disposal.
He has marine life. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ocean.
That's a good question. Well, I know Hawkeye and Kate Bishop share Lucky the pizza dog,
Mhm.
which is really cool. I like that dog. Speaking of dogs, so
Yeah. Did you watch Ironheart on Disney Plus?
I did watch Ironheart. I thought
I
Anthony Ramos did a great job as the Hood.
yeah.
The show itself was a little. I didn't mind the show. I think the editing was a little weird at times.
I didn't watch it, although there were things and aspects of it that reasons why I wanted to watch it. One being Mephisto is on the show, right?
Yes, they finally
So
introduced him into the MCU after all that build up with a WandaVision, and he finally gets in. Yeah.
yeah, and so I wanted to see it because of that, and also Shea Coulee, who is a drag queen on RuPaul's Drag Race, is on the show as well, right? I think,
Yes, I think so. Yeah. She's one of the Hood's gang, I think.
yeah, and so I wanted to see it for her as well. So I have to watch it. There's a lot of stuff that I Disney shows that came out that I didn't like. I didn't watch Loki, so I'm definitely behind in a lot of different things, but I need to catch up.
Well, do a quick recap of everything that you have watched if you want, real quick.
That just random stuff or
Yeah,
Disney.
random stuff. Bring it on. Lightning fast
I
round.
haven't really been watching a lot, to be honest, a lot of TV. I've been reading a lot, and
Oh,
I
okay.
just finished a book called The House of Impossible Beauties,
Ooh,
which
sounds
is
cool.
really good. It's kind of it's not a super uplifting book because a lot of the characters um uh, they're they don't survive the book, and then the previous book that I just read is they both die at the end, so that also has sort of like a downer. So I've been sort of on like a downer when it comes to book plots. But it is really a good book. It's once again, it's called The House of Impossible Beauties by Joseph Cassara. It has to do with it. It sort of takes place in the 80s with the drag ballroom scene, and the main protagonist is a house mother to a drag house, and it sort of kind of goes from there. So and it actually is inspired by real life people, Angie Extravaganza, Vina Extravaganza, Hector Extravaganza, who were in Paris is Burning, the documentary.
Oh, okay.
By Jenny Livingston. So it's a really interesting book. I just finished it maybe 2 days ago, and recommend it for especially for people who are fans of Paris is Burning. It it is fictional, but it sort of delves into the lives of those people and kind of re-envisions what maybe their life would have been like.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you? Anything that you've been reading or watching or that you want to recommend?
I just finished watching Running Point on Netflix. It's a comedy sitcom, basically, if you will. It's stars Kate Hudson, where she takes over a basketball team,
Okay.
and it's really fun. So it's like it mimics like like nepotism and like the Lakers and stuff like that. So they're called the Waves from Los Angeles, but it's really fun. It's Mindy Kaling, I think she created the show along with Ike Barinholtz,
Okay.
and it's really fun. I enjoyed it. There's 10 episodes out. They just announced that they're going to do a season 2 of it, so I'm excited for that. It gave me reminded me of the that Showtime rise of like the Lakers that they had on HBO a while back. But it was fun. I enjoyed it.
So she plays the coach to the
She
team?
plays the owner, the new boss. So she takes over the team from her brother, or her older brother appoints her as the new president of the team when he has to go into rehab.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty fun. I recommend it.
Because when you started explaining it, I immediately thought of her mom's movie Wildcats, where she
Oh
becomes
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a football team.
I remember
And
that.
I was like, oh, that's interesting that she kind of is playing a role that's very similar to that, but it slightly different.
A little bit different, yeah. But she takes on a lot of different roles, or I guess within there were a lot of shit to put out a lot of different fires, and learn on the job as well. But because she was always left out by her dad, who was very misogynistic, so he didn't want anything to do with. He had three. She has three brothers, or two brothers, two or three, and they got parts in the team, but he left her out, and then so now it's fun. Go watch it.
You know, I'll have to check it out. Although it's a sport, so maybe.
I did watch another film though on Netflix that just came out. The Thursday Murder Club.
Oh yeah, I was gonna watch it. I was looking at that last night actually.
Yeah, it was really good. It's based on a book. or a series of books, I guess, and they build it into this one film. And Helen Mirren, Ben Kingsley, Pierce Brosnan, and they did a great job. Ben Kingsley's just such a wonderful actor, and he just does a good job. And yeah, I recommend it. Go watch it.
Yeah, I literally was watching the trailer last night. Really big fan of Helen Mirren, so I was like, should I watch it? And then I forgot what we decided to watch instead, but I'll have to watch it tonight.
Okay. There you go. Well, everyone, thank you for stopping by. Leave us a comment what you guys have been watching and reading and whatnot. We'd be happy to hear that, and that way it gives us more stuff to put on our plates to conquer, I guess, if you will. So thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing, and I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.